Today we're going to dissect the l'expression orale of the TCF exam, giving you all the tips and tricks that will equip you for success. In the l'expression orale, you're given three tasks, ce qu'on appelle trois tâches en français. Tâche 1 is introduction. So in this part, you're going to be introducing yourself and it lasts for 2 minutes. Tâche 2 is interaction. So you're going to be asking questions and it lasts for 5 minutes 30 seconds. You're given 2 minutes to prepare yourself and you're going to be speaking for 3 minutes 30 seconds. Tâche 3 is point of view. So in tâche 3, you'd be given a topic for you to express your point of view of that topic. And it lasts for 40 minutes, 4 minutes, 30 seconds. Starting off with tâche 1. What you need to know is that TCF is a numbers game. This means that the higher grammar structure you use, the higher your score. And you don't want to see, over here, we don't aim for B2, we aim for C2. Amen? Amen. So you do not want to be basic at all. You're going to throw away all those, your A1 grammar that you'll be speaking. No, we'll make it more, photosynthesis. You're going to replace je m'appelle with je me nomme. I'm not saying je m'appelle is bad. It's just so popular and it's giving, I'm new here, I'm a beginner and we don't want that. You're going to replace j'ai 24 ans with âgé de 24 ans. You see, it's just different. You're going to try to replace mais with cependant, etc., etc. But the point is, we're going to try to be more, we're going to up our game a little bit. Now, you also want to make use of connectors like de plus, ensuite, par conséquent, toutefois, just to make you sound more, advanced and like you know what you're saying, even if you probably don't. Now, the next thing I'm going to say is that there are certain things that your intro should incorporate, all right? And these things are your name, your family, your nationality, your country and city of residence, your age, your relationship status, your education, your profession, your dream or goal, your passion, your hobby, and you're going to summarize with one sentence of the kind of person you are. Like you describe yourself with one sentence at the end. Now, I'm going to show you how I would introduce myself. In fact, this is the introduction that I used when I was writing my own TCF exam in December, just December here, so it wasn't far away. And guess what? I scored a C1. So let's look at that. So this is how the exam works. When you enter, the examiner, once you sit down, you say bonjour, the examiner is going to ask you your name to confirm. They won't ask you per se, they will read out your name to confirm that you are the right candidate for that moment. And then when you concur, you can now go ahead to introduce yourself. So this is what I'll say. Comme je vous l'ai dit tantôt, je me nomme Elisabeth Inkere. Now, the reason I said comme je vous l'ai dit tantôt is because they already repeated my name. So it's like saying, like we said earlier, and my name is Elizabeth Inkere. Benjamin d'une fratrie de 8, je suis nigérien de nationalité, originaire précisément de l'état d'Akwa Ibom. Cependant, je réside dans l'état de Rivers State. Vous voyez? Âgé de 24 ans, je suis célibataire, mais pas pour longtemps. En ce qui concerne mon parcours, je suis titulaire d'une licence en histoire et études internationales. Toutefois, j'exerce le métier d'enseignant de français sur un site pédagogique appelé Preply. De plus, je suis créatrice de contenu sur YouTube, Instagram ainsi que TikTok. Mon rêve, c'est de devenir une interprète ou traductrice de renommée mondiale. C'est la raison pour laquelle je souhaiterais m'installer à l'étranger, notamment en France ou au Canada. Enfin, sur un plan personnel, je me passionne pour les langues étrangères et la cuisine. Je passe également mon temps libre à regarder des séries américaines sur Netflix et à parcourir les médias sociaux. Je dirais que je suis quelqu'un d'ambitieux qui aime travailler dur et se développer. Voilà brièvement ce que je peux vous dire sur ma modeste personne. Merci. Now, I'm going to show you how I highlighted everything about myself in this introduction. You see how in the first part I said je me nomme. I said je me nomme Elizabeth Nkere. Now I said I'm the last child of a family of eight. So that's when I said Benjamin d'une fratrie de huit. That means Benjamin is the last child in French. I also said je suis Nigériane de nationalité. Instead of saying je suis Nigérian, we're making it seem so big. Je suis Nigériane de nationalité, originaire précisément de l'état d'Akwa Ibom. Instead of saying je viens d'Akwa Ibom, please, we're trying to be advanced over here. So you're going to make it originaire précisément, advanced. And then I switched mais. Now I'm not using mais all over the place. I changed it to cependant, je réside dans l'état de River State. So now I have highlighted my nationality, my state of origin. I have now also said where I currently reside, which is River State. Now, it's important to note that your examiner has every right to interrupt you when you're introducing yourself, because they know that some people would want to go and memorize something, so they can interrupt you in the course of your introduction to make you explain some things. Like in my time when I explained that, oh, I'm from Akwa Ibom State but I live in River State, they asked me, why don't I live in Akwa Ibom? They asked me, and I had to explain to them that, oh, it's because of this, it's because of that, whatnot. So at the end of the day, you cannot run away from knowing how to speak French. In this exam, you need to be able to express yourself in French. And then you see how I said âgé de 24 ans. I did say j'ai 24 ans. I also said my relationship status. I'm single, je suis célibataire. You're single until you're married. If you're in a relationship, there's no need to say je suis en couple. No, just say je suis célibataire. If you're married, you say je suis marié. And then I added that mais pas pour longtemps. That's it's not like I'm really telling them that, oh, I'm getting married. So the point is, I'm just trying to sound like, some razzle dazzle. I'm adding some razzle dazzle basically. You see how I introduced my education, and I've said en ce qui concerne mon parcours. En ce qui concerne, you can steal that. Je suis titulaire d'une licence en histoire. So I have a bachelor's degree in history, and I showed my focus. I also said I exercise this degree as a French tutor, which I said here. Toutefois, you see how I said toutefois j'exerce. We're making it better. J'exerce. You cannot just say toutefois je travaille comme boring. So try to say j'exerce. It sounds better. And then you see how I'm using de plus. De plus, I added the fact that I'm a content creator. Je suis créatrice de contenu sur YouTube and all of that. And then now, look at where I said my goal. Mon rêve c'est de devenir. It's my dream to become. This is my goal now. I added that. And then I said, okay, to become a translator and an interpreter. And then I just said, okay, this is my dream. And this is the reason why this is what I'm doing now to get me to this dream. That's why I said, okay, I intend to relocate. C'est la raison pour laquelle je souhaiterais m'installer. I intend to settle in a foreign country like, Canada or France. Just, it doesn't mean I really want to do that. It's just to sound, And then you see how I also said sur un plan personnel. Sur un plan personnel, I stated my passion. Je me passionne pour les langues étrangères. So I'm passionate about foreign languages and cooking. That's not true. I'm not passionate about cooking, but I said that anyway. And now this is the part where I said my hobbies. This is the part where I said my hobbies. I didn't say mes loisirs sont. My hobbies is boring. I said je passe également mon temps libre. I spend my free time. This is how I spend my free time. You see, we're making it advanced. Regarder, watching American series and scrolling through social media. Now, this is that one sentence summary that I said that it sums up my person. I said, je dirais que je suis quelqu'un d'ambitieux. I would say that I'm an ambitious person. See, one sentence. I would say that je dirais que je suis quelqu'un d'ambitieux qui aime travailler dur et se développer. Who likes to work hard and self-develop. Do you see that? I'm just telling them my kind of person. One sentence is enough. Now, to close it up, I said, voilà brièvement ce que je peux vous dire sur ma modeste personne. So, this is what I can say about my humble person, my modest person. You just sum it all up. You seem put together. You have incorporated all the important things. You can steal this format. Make sure to adapt it to yourself. Don't go and write exactly what I said. That'll be what's this word? Plagiarism. Maybe plagiarism. I don't know how it's pronounced. Don't do that. If you do it, they will catch you. This one is not advice. If you go and copy it word for word, they will catch you. So, my dear, you have to copy it with your number 6. Okay. Oh, and do not forget that you only have 2 minutes to say all of this. Yes, it is possible. If you memorize your introduction, you'll be able to say it in less than 2 minutes, in fact. And another thing I'm going to say, when the examiner interrupts you mid introduction, once you answer their question, you want to answer their question quickly. Once you answer their question, go back to your introduction. Don't wait for them to tell you, okay, continue, because your time is counting. That interruption that they're interrupting you, your time will not pause. So you want to go back immediately to your introduction. Don't repeat what you already said. Continue from where you stopped and be going like that. Because once the time is over, they'll cut you short and you won't finish saying all you have to say. So you have to be very, very smart. So you don't want to be doing no, there is no room for that. If not, your score will be low. You end up not saying as much as you need to say. Now, moving on to la tâche 2, which is interaction. This part lasts for 5 minutes, 30 seconds. You'll be given 2 minutes to prepare yourself. 2 minutes is very small, doesn't do much. And then you're going to be speaking for 3 minutes, 30 seconds. I think it was longer than that. I believe it was some sort of like 7 minutes. Well, this is what it says on the site, but I think in real life it should be around 7 minutes. Now, in this aspect, you're going to be given a scenario. They could give you a topic like this. Now, this topic I read: Je suis votre camarade de classe et je suis francophone. Vous me posez des questions pour avoir des informations concernant votre projet de séjour dans une ville francophone. Now, they'll be giving you a topic like this. It's a scenario. What you want to do first is understand this scenario, understand the situation, because from this scenario, your job in this tâche 2 is to ask the examiner questions. You want to ask like 7 to 8 pertinent questions that concern the situation. And it's not just asking the right questions, it's also important to be able to react properly to the responses that your examiner gives to you. All right. So if they say something like, you ask a question like, oh, where do I find this? And they say, it depends. You cannot just ignore that it depends and continue. No, you have to say it depends on what. So your reaction also shows that you are flowing. It's to test your conversational skills. Basically, that's the purpose of this tâche. So now the first thing you want to do, like I said, is understand the question. Understand it very well. Now, figure out who you are. It says, Je suis votre camarade de classe et je suis francophone. This is the examiner. Your examiner is your classmate, and they are from a French country, French speaking country. They are from a francophone country, basically. That is who your examiner is. It says, Vous me posez des questions. Now, you, the person, candidate, you'll be asking questions to your classmate who is from a francophone country to have information concerning my travel, séjour in a French or francophone country. Now, me as the candidate, I'm planning to take a trip to a francophone country, and I don't know which particular one. So I want to ask my classmates, my camarade de classe. I want to ask them questions that can help me decide concerning my vacation, my trip, basically. Now, we have established that we are classmates. So because we're classmates, you're going to use informal language. You don't want to be using vous, vous, vous. Now, these are the things you want to pay attention to. If it's something like you're talking to a body, like you're in maybe agence de voyage or whatever, you would use formal language. But this is an informal setting, so you have to figure that out. That is one. So the situation is, I want to take a trip. Now I'm going to be asking questions that will help me to decide which city I should be traveling to, the best city, what are the tourist sites, questions that can help me plan for my vacation, my trip, basically. So these are the questions that I would ask. But before you jump into asking questions, you want to first of all introduce introduce the situation. You cannot just walk to your classmate and say, which city can I travel to? Where's the tourist site? No, you can't do that. You have to say something like, hello, how are you doing? So I plan on doing this. So because you are a francophone person, I feel like asking you some questions. That is how you're going to start. So this is how I'm going to introduce this situation. They didn't say your classmate's name, so you have to create a name. I would say, bonjour Thomas, comment tu vas? Je voudrais prendre un séjour dans une ville francophone et comme tu es francophone, j'aimerais te poser quelques questions. Aurais-tu quelques minutes à m'accorder? Do you see? Very short and simple. You don't want to be talking long thing because your time is very short. Hello, Thomas. I plan on doing this and that. And because you're a francophone person, I'd like to ask you some questions. You have a few minutes to give to me. Your examiner will be like, yes or no. Definitely, they're going to say yes. So, yes, pas de problème. And then you go ahead now to ask your questions. So, question one, I would say, quelle ville me conseillerais-tu pour mes vacances? Quelle ville? What city? And you see, I did not say, tu peux suggérer une ville pour moi. That is basic. See how I structured it? Still that structure. Another question I will ask, pourrais-tu me communiquer les meilleurs moments pour visiter cette ville? Now I'm asking, what is the best time to visit this city? What is the best season? These are important questions. Another question I would ask, quels sont les sites touristiques ou les lieux d'attraction que la ville dispose? Now, what are the tourist sites, attraction places that this city possesses? Je souhaiterais connaître les activités intéressantes à faire dans cette ville. I'd like to know the interesting activities or things that I can occupy myself with while I'm on vacation in this city. Peux-tu me dire un mot sur les transports? Transportation. How do I move easily in the city? These are important questions. Pourrais-tu me recommander un logement confortable et pas cher? Now, where will I be staying? Can you recommend accommodation, hotel that is not too expensive based on my budget? See, I'm adding some razzle dazzle. Aurais-tu la gentillesse de me recommander où je pourrais trouver de bons produits à de meilleurs prix? Now, how to, on appelle ça localiser et s'orienter en français. How to navigate the city where I can buy things less expensive. Do you see the kind of questions I'm asking? 7 questions like that is okay, but I'm extra. I'm going to add 2 more. Te serait-il possible de me communiquer le budget à prévoir pour ces vacances? Now, can you give me like a little summary? Can you communicate a summary that I can plan with for this trip? Lastly, y a-t-il des règles d'usage ou de savoir-vivre utiles que je devrais connaître? Are there rules and regulations that I need to follow when I visit this city? Is it, that's why I said important questions. Like I said, when you ask these questions, your examiner will respond. So you want to be able to respond, react properly to their answers. You know, they could say, oh, it depends on this. You say, dépend de quoi? Basically, you need to understand, you need to pay attention, and you need to ask the right questions. You can steal these question formats and adapt it to maybe any scenario that you're given. You see the way I use y a-t-il? Te serait-il possible? Quelles tâches me conseillerais-tu or me conseilleriez-vous? Depending if it's formal or informal. Pourrais-tu or pourriez-vous? That is the formal version. Je souhaiterais. I wish to know. Je souhaiterais. You can steal that. Peux-tu? Can you? Or pourrais-tu? Or pouvez-vous? Pouvez-vous is also for the formal version. You can also say, aurais-tu? Do you have? You can steal these structures to incorporate into your question. There's another one I would love to add for you. Pourriez-vous me renseigner? This is if you're asking for, let's say you're in a travel agency, and there's some situations that they require you to ask questions to a worker in a travel agency. So you could say, pourriez-vous me renseigner? The verb se renseigner is to inform me, right? So you could use that to ask questions as well. Est-ce que vous comprenez? Yeah, I hope that was helpful. Now, moving on to la tâche 3, which is giving your point of view, your opinion in French. Like we said earlier, this section lasts for 4 minutes and 30 seconds. and it is spontaneous. What I mean by spontaneous, for those in the back, is the fact that there is no room to prepare. There is literally no room to prepare. Once they give you your topic, you have to start talking from there. There is no space. So let me tell you the hack here. For you to buy yourself some time, you can ask the examiner to repeat the question. So you can say, répétez s'il vous plaît. Je n'ai pas bien entendu. So please repeat, I didn't hear clearly. So they will repeat the question. You can ask them to repeat the questions 3 times because the time that they are using to repeat the question, you can use that time to be thinking, trying to be translating the question in your head. At the end of the day, I'm going to say pray for grace, pray for luck, because you might get there and they'll give you a question that you know nothing about, a topic rather that you know nothing about. It could be, you might not even know the words in the topic. So at the end of the day, you just have to hope for grace. Whatever you believe in, if you don't believe in anything, you just pray to yourself or pray to whatever God you worship for grace and favor to be able to get a topic that is you can easily generate ideas. Because if you're unable to do that, that's the end for you. So, like I said earlier, the purpose of this section is to prove that you're able to easily express yourself in French and talk about diverse topics in French. So, imagine I give you a question like this: Les nouvelles technologies rendent le monde meilleur. Êtes-vous d'accord avec cette affirmation? New technology makes the world better. Do you agree with this statement? This is a very, very good topic because when you talk about new technology, there are a lot of ideas to say. So, yeah. The first thing you want to do when you're giving a statement, you want to figure out what it's about. You're going to also start by introducing the topic. You're going to give your body. The body will carry your points. At least you want to give 2 reasons. 2 to 3 reasons is fine. Even if it's one reason you give. With that one reason, you want to explain it in detail and give examples, real life examples, and solutions, possible solutions to help. But it's important to know that before you start giving your reasons, you have to establish the side you're on. Are you for or against? That is what you establish in your introduction before you start giving your reasons why you are for this topic or you are against this topic. And then the last part would be your conclusion. This part will not be complete if you do not conclude. You have to do your introduction, your body, and your conclusion. That is how you get your full mark. If you don't do these things, sorry for you. And then when you're done doing these, your examiner can now start bombarding you with questions. Sorry, let me not use the word bombard. They will just ask you questions. They would want to stir up an argument with you, because if you say that technology is good for the world, it makes the world better. Why? So what about the cybercrime and all that stuff? So they want to get you to talk more. It's very, very normal. Do not panic. You just have to calm down, understand the questions they ask, and try to get your point across. Try to debate a little bit in French. So if all the while, like up to this point, you did not know how to speak French, you were just memorizing things, this is the part where you really need to prove yourself that you speak French. So let me show you how I would tackle this topic. So, my introduction. Les nouvelles technologies telles que l'intelligence artificielle, les smartphones, les ordinateurs portables, les logiciels, pour ne citer que cela, est un sujet d'actualité qui divise l'opinion publique. Certains estiment qu'elles rendent le monde meilleur, d'autres, par contre, y sont sceptiques. Pour ma part, les nouvelles technologies rendent le monde meilleur, non seulement dans notre vie personnelle, mais également dans notre vie professionnelle. Je le dis pour les raisons suivantes. Do you see that? Now, I'm going to dissect this introduction. I started by saying new technologies such as, I listed some new technologies. So if it's something like this that you can list examples, you want to do that in your introduction to show your examiner that you know what they are talking about. If it's something that requires a definition, you want to define that as well in your introduction, still to get your point across. Now, the next thing I did after giving examples like smartphones, laptops, les logiciels and stuff like that, pour ne citer que cela, that is a C1, C2 structure that says just to name but a few. That's what it really means. So after it, you use it after you have listed things. Just throw there, pour ne citer que cela or celle-là, depending if it's feminine things you listed or masculine or a combination. To be safe, you can use cela because it could be a combination of masculine and feminine nouns. So to name but a few, that's what it means. And then I said, so new technology such as this, is a current topic that stirs up public opinion. Now, it's a topic, it's a controversial topic, it stirs up public opinion, qui divise l'opinion publique. Certains estiment qu'elles rendent le monde meilleur. Whether or not I'm agreeing with this affirmation of with this statement, I have to consider both sides. So that's why I said certains estiment qu'elles rendent le monde meilleur. Some people believe it makes the world better. D'autres, par contre, ils sont sceptiques. On the other hand, people on the other hand are skeptical, are not sure. And then this is the part where I'm stating where I'm choosing where I'm supporting for or against. And I started by saying, pour ma part, les nouvelles technologies rendent le monde meilleur. In my opinion, on my end, new technology makes the world better. Non seulement dans notre vie personnelle, not only in our personal lives, mais également dans notre vie professionnelle, but equally in our professional lives. You see how I have already categorized it. Now I am letting them know how I want to categorize my points in personal and professional life. Do you see that? Je le dis pour les raisons suivantes. I'm saying this for these reasons. That is a good introduction. That is a good introduction. I've given examples. I've said, considered both parts, and I've indicated the one I am supporting. There are different ways to say in your opinion. You can say pour ma part. You can say à mon avis. You can say something like je corrobore cette affirmation. Je suis d'avis. I am of the opinion that, these are different ways you can say your point of view, introduce your point of view in French. You can write them down, steal them for your exam. Now let's get into the body. Premièrement, I don't want to just go and jump and say sur le plan. No, I will say firstly. Premièrement, sur le plan personnel, grâce au smartphone et Internet, nous pouvons contacter des personnes qui sont loin de nous en faisant des appels audio, des appels vidéo ou en envoyant des textes messages à coup des applications telles que WhatsApp, FaceTime, iMessage, Telegram, etc. De plus, nous pouvons faire les courses, commander un repas d'un restaurant, acheter des choses telles que des billets d'avion, le ticket d'un concert ou bien réserver une chambre d'hôtel sans avoir besoin d'y aller, ainsi évitant du stress. You see how I was giving examples? You want to do things like that. And now, after I said how it's such as all this, after I enumerated all the things that this new technology has helped us to do, like order food online, buy things online, and book tickets, this other stuff. After I said that, I now added how it made our life better, ainsi évitant du stress. Hence, avoiding or preventing stress. So because we're able to do all these things, it is preventing stress. This is how it is now making our lives better. Do you see how I summed it up and took it back to the question? Sur le plan professionnel, les nouvelles technologies ont révolutionné le monde du travail et des affaires. L'Internet, les applications et les logiciels ont amélioré notre travail en le rendant plus simple, plus facile, plus efficace, plus performant et plus rentable. Do you see that? It has revolutionized the world of work, the working industry. The internet applications and all of these softwares have improved our work by making them easier, plus simple. Plus simple is like more useful, easier, more effective, better performing. And I stated all that, how it has made our life better. And then, I now give an example. Il n'est pas étonnant de voir un architecte concevoir de magnifiques édifices en très peu de temps avec l'aide de logiciels. Ainsi, il fait plus de plans et gagne plus d'argent. Cet état des choses, par conséquent, contribue à rendre le monde meilleur. Do you see that? I have given a very practical example using an architect who uses softwares and all this stuff to plan, to work on designs, beautiful structures and buildings with the help of softwares. And I said, hence, he makes more work, he's able to do more work and make more money. Now, this state of things consequently contributes in rendering the world better. You see how I always sum it up back to the topic of, does it make the world better? So you don't want to just give your points and end it there. You want to take it back to the reason why you're actually giving all these points. Conclusion. Ainsi, au regard des points que je viens d'évoquer, il va sans dire que le monde d'aujourd'hui est devenu meilleur dans tous les domaines de la vie grâce à ces nouvelles technologies. Voilà. Keep it short. Keep your conclusion short. There's no time to be talking too much. Even if you give one good reason, make sure to explain it properly. Make sure to give examples. Make sure to sum it up back and give your conclusion. Talk. It's better for you to give one reason, explain it well, and conclude than for you to be talking and not conclude. Honestly, it's just better that way. Now, I'm going to give you another introduction in case you want to be against new technology. So, look at this one. Certes, avec l'avènement des nouvelles technologies, on note l'émergence de nouveaux fléaux tels que la cybercriminalité et l'augmentation des fraudes, des crimes, du terrorisme, des conflits armés, ainsi que la généralisation de la perversion. Toutefois, on ne saurait nier que le monde s'est amélioré et s'est modernisé grâce à ces derniers. Now, this other introduction, funny thing is, you can use it as a way of agreeing to the fact that it has made the world better. In fact, you can use it both ways. But the fact that I highlighted all the bad things that it caused, it shows that I'm not agreeing with the fact that new technology is good. Do you understand? So this is another introduction. You see how I said certes? That's a good one. With the advent of new technology, we note the emergence of new, flu is like vices. Vices, that's what it sort of means. So vices such as cyber criminality, the increase of fraud, crime, terrorism, conflict, like armed conflict, um, you know, perversion, stuff like that. This is already showing that I'm not supporting new technology. So you could take this as well and just pick some structures, some grammar that you could incorporate into yours to make yours sound better. So yes, we have been able to dissect the 3 tasks of the oral version. If you're new here, I already made a video explaining la compréhension écrite, la compréhension orale, and l'expression écrite. So I did promise I was going to make a special video for l'expression orale, which I have done today. So if you found this helpful, do not hesitate to subscribe to this channel for more useful tips like this. Write down your questions in the comments. I'll be happy to respond to them. It would also be great for you to connect with me on my other socials, on Instagram, TikTok. I post daily videos there, short, concise videos that will be useful to your French learning journey. Subscribe before you go anywhere. And if you want to hire me as your tutor to prepare for these exams, or just to improve your speaking in general, I'll be adding my Preply link. I'm a tutor on Preply. I'll be adding it to the captions. And yeah, I will see you in the next video. À bientôt. Mwah.